bells. All right.
Lots of bell choices there.
Here we go. What is it? Jingle bells. Yes. Yeah. All right. Here we go.
That's
What?
Sean, everyone.
Yes. This is Sean Cook. Video extraordinary, designer, producer,
Director.
director, on-camera talent, Sean Cook. All right, so what was the very first Christmas song played in outer space? Anyone? Does anyone know? Okay.
We have choices?
All right, I'm going to give you choices. All right, what is it?
White Christmas.
White Christmas. Very good. Very
Good guess, good guess.
You're wrong, but it was a good guess. Yeah.
Silent Night, another good guess as well.
That's another really good guess too. Anything? Oh, all right.
Oh, shit.
Okay, all right. And all right, here we go. Guess what? We're cheating. That was a little. We will tell you when we're in the middle of our little presentation.
So a little
right?
bit later.
We promised. You promised.
So keep thinking about that.
All right, got it. Here we go.
According to the Guinness Book World of Records, what is the best Christmas song of all time?
All right, I'm going to give you more choices. Here we go.
Frosty the Snowman, White Christmas, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Which one of all time?
All right. So raise your hand if you think it's Rudolph. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4,
Good.
5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. What about White Christmas? We
More
one
hands for that.
Christmas, okay. How about Frosty the Snowman? All right. Raise your hands if you think the answer that you gave is completely like you know for sure. Does anyone know? Here's the answer right there.
White Christmas, Bing Crosby. Some of you guessed that, so yeah.
All right. So here we go. Patty.
This is mine.
Yeah.
Which one of these Christmas songs was banned in World War II by the BBC? So which one was banned?
All right. I'm going to give you some choices.
I'll Be Home for Christmas, The Little Boy That Santa Forgot, that's pretty sad, and Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Raise your hand if you think it's I'll Be Home for Christmas. Okay, so a few hands there. What about raise your hands for The Little Boy That Santa Forgot?
That's
Okay, a
pretty
couple
sad.
hands there. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Raise your hands if you think that was the one. Okay, let's
What's the answer?
take a look. I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Why do you think it was banned? Yeah, because they were in war, and guess what? They might not be home for Christmas, right? Okay, but one more little trivia warm-up question for you. Here you go. What did you bake at home with your mother, your father, grandmother, grandfather? What did you bake? Tell us. Cookies.
Cookies.
Do you remember what kind of cookies they were?
Sugar cookies.
Sugar cookies, yeah.
Me too, sugar and chocolate chip with my
What
mom.
else?
I was an end user.
A what?
End user.
And what does that mean?
I ate the phone.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
What else did you bake at home? Fruitcake. You know what? We have heard fruitcake so much in the last few days. We've been doing this a lot over the last couple of weeks. Fruitcake has come up a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, David's brother actually sent us some I think it was last year, right?
Yeah.
Some fruit cake.
It's not. You don't see it around a whole lot these days, do you? And what else? One more thing. What else did you bake at home? Anyone?
The turkey.
Oh, of
Turkey.
course, turkey. Yeah. And what is bake? We always think about the desserts. Isn't that funny? All right. So Gracie, you want to do your thing, or?
I do.
Should we wait? Should we wait a few more minutes, or what?
Why don't we wait one more minute because I just saw somebody coming down the hall.
All right. Okay. Who's traveling over the holidays? Raise your hand if you're traveling. Where are you going?
Just down to Norfolk.
Norfolk. Who else is traveling? Yes. Where are you going? Where?
Atlanta.
Nice. And anyone else traveling?
Lunchroom. I'm traveling to the lunchroom.
To the lunchroom.
To the lunchroom.
Yeah. And where are we going, Patty?
Well, we're visiting in the area family a couple times, but we're going on a cruise right after Christmas down the coast of Mexico
Yes.
with my brother and his wife and one of my nieces and her husband.
A Mexican Riviera cruise.
So we're very excited.
I love it.
Yeah? Oh, you gone there?
Yes,
Oh.
recently.
Oh, not really? Oh, wow. Well,
Was it a cruise that you were on?
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
We'll think of you. We will think of you.
Yes.
Gracie Jones, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo, I'm your show today.
All right. I think that our guests deserve a proper welcome. So I think you all got a brief understanding of what they're going to be chatting about today. So they're going to be talking about all of your Christmas traditions when you were growing up. What did you bake with your mother? What music did you listen to? All of that good stuff. So let's give a round of applause and a huge warm welcome for David Leong and Miss Patty DeBeck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas,
No, wait, there's one
everyone.
more thing. You know what? I forgot. There's actually one more trivia question. Let's finish this.
Oh,
Who
goodness.
wrote, one person, very famous, wrote these three songs, okay? I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, Frosty, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and Holly Jolly Christmas. Any idea? Yes. Who?
Gene Autry.
Gene Autry.
Okay, thank you for that. I might have guessed that myself. Anyone, any other guess? Yes.
Rural Lives.
You know what, that of all when we've done these retirement communities all throughout Richmond, we've heard that person come up all the time.
A lot of people think it's
I
Guest for
also think
Lives.
that too, but you're very, very close. All right, here it is, right here, okay? Oh, and actually, we're gonna give you some choices. So Burl Ives, Mel Torme, and Johnny Marks. Have you heard of all three? You've not
Neither
heard?
had I until we did research.
And guess what? Here we go. It is Johnny Marks.
Well, that's what
And-
John.
I know, yeah.
And we're
you know,
going to talk more about him later.
yes, we will talk about all of them in detail as we go. All right, so, shall we?
So I think we're ready to start now. Okay, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Yes, Feliz Navidad.
Bon Natale.
Joyeux Noel.
Thank you for being with us this afternoon. And I want to say how grateful we are here at Tuckahoe Pines Retirement Community and for Gracie Jones. Gracie, are you? There's Gracie back there. You all know Gracie. Thank you for inviting us to share the holiday. I've got to figure out how to share the holiday season with you. So thank you for spending time with us.
So you know that between Thanksgiving and Christmas, when you're at the shopping mall or the grocery store, did you know almost all of the songs you hear are from the 1940s and 50s? Yeah.
You know, it's true. And there are two groups, and they're right up here. The American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, ASCAP, and then there's BMI, which is the Broadcast Media Inc. Now, what do? They are responsible for tracking how many times a song has been played, and they actually have to check the playlist every 3 days.
Wow. So why are all those songs from the 1940s and 50s still popular today? I mean, that was over 80 years ago. So why is it?
Right. Well, first of all, they're catchy melodies, right? We like to sing along with them and we know them. Also, they were written after World War II, and so they were written to help boost people's morale and spirits.
And another reason why they're popular is because they were written by some of the best composers and songwriters in America, and you'll hear a lot about them in just a few minutes.
True. And also, it was the first time that Christmas songs were inclusive of non-Christians. So the songs were about the season as opposed to about Jesus himself.
So, in just a few minutes, you're going to hear some amazingly true stories about the making of those holiday hits. So, shall we begin?
Okay, let's get started, shall we? Alrighty.
It was a sweltering hot day in Los Angeles, 1945, when singer-songwriter Mel Torme knocked on his songwriting partner Bob Wells' door. Bob, knock, knock. Bob.
Come in.
Hey, thank you. Wow. Bob, where are you? Bob,
Bob Wells was nowhere to be found, but there was a spiral notepad on the piano.
Mel walked over to it. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide.
It's hot. Hey, Mel, it's hot.
Bob, when are you going to buy an air conditioner?
When are you going to write a song that sells, Mel?
Yuletide
Hey,
Carol.
what you looking at? Give me that.
Hey, what is it? What have you got there?
Nothing, just a dumb idea.
Come on, let me see it.
No. You know what? It's just so hot today. I couldn't cool off. I jumped in the pool. I took a shower. I even had a cold drink and nothing but hot. So I thought if I write a few words of wintry verse, maybe I could psychologically take the edge off the heat. Didn't work.
Can I take a look at that one more time? So Mel took that, he sat down at the piano, and he plunked out 7 notes. Bum, 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 bum.
Hey, play that again.
Chestnuts
Roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. It's working. I'm feeling cooler already.
Wow, and just like that, the rest of the song tumbled out in the next 45 minutes, and Bob and Mel knew they had a really big hit on their hands.
So they grabbed their music, they ran over to Van Heusen Publishing, and when they played the song,
The publisher said, no, we're not interested. I can't publish a song that's only going to be heard one day a year. Besides, we can't make any money off of it.
so on their way back to Bob's house, they stopped at a friend's, hoping that friend would cheer them up.
And so Bob sat down and Mel at the piano, and they played their heartfelt song about the perfect Christmas. And before he could even get it done,
Their friend jumped up and said, "That's my song, I gotta have it, let's record it now."
and he did. And the song was sung by who?
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Yeah.
Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Yuletide cap.
Beautiful song, right?
That song is beautiful, it really touches your heart, right? And so the rest, as they say, is holiday history. So there you have it. That is the true story of the writing and the recording of the holiday song.
Wow, that hot summer day. So, speaking of songs, okay, we've got a couple of songs coming up for you. We were here a couple of months ago. Was anyone else here then? Oh, wow, a lot of you. Okay.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you for coming. So, we had a lot of Name That Tune, remember that? This time, Name the Singer. These are 2 of them, and you're gonna guess it right away. Here's the very first one.
It's the best time of the year.
Who is it? We're Alive, you got it, right, absolutely. There he is right there.
Good guess, yes.
And this next one coming up.
Another Name
That
the Singer.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Who is it? Jose Feliciano.
Good back there.
Yeah,
Great, yes.
Great. All right, here we go. Another Name That Singer.
We're going to go a little more in depth about this song and this person, so here we go.
Okay, here we go.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Who's the singer?
With the kids jingle.
I heard Andy Williams. Anyone
Andy
else?
Williams, I heard
Another
Perry
suggestion?
Como somewhere.
Heard Perry Como. Raise your hands if you think it's Andy Williams. All right?
A lot of hands.
Raise your hands if you're sure it's Andy Williams.
Well, it's still a lot of hands, all right.
Yeah, there you got it. Okay, it is Andy Williams. The most wonderful time of the year. We recognize his voice right away, don't we? So, Patty, tell us about the story behind the song.
Okay, so George Weil was the vocal director for the Andy Williams Show. He also wrote the song for the Andy Williams show. But he is most famous for what song? Not that one, but there's another one that he's most famous for. Any ideas what that song might be?
Okay, now,
Shall we? Okay.
all right, we're going to play the song, and it's gonna zap you right back to the 1960s, and I promise you it will put a smile on your face, right? So, George Weil, The Most Wonderful Time of the Year, and here we go.
Just sit right in the rear of the tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this
Raise your hand if you saw this.
The mate was a white
Yeah.
sailor, and the skipper brave and sure.
Alan Hale, Bob Denver. It does zap you right back. It wasn't a person that didn't have a smile on their face.
I used to watch that song all the time as a kid.
You watch the song?
Watch the song. I used to watch the show and listen to the song all the time as a
Right,
kid.
so let's go back to so Andy Williams, The Most Wonderful Time of the Year, that wasn't his most popular song. There was something that he was really world famous for. What was it? Someone said it, I think? Moon River.
Moon River.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Moon River? Yes, and what movie what's the song written for? What was it? Breakfast at Tiffany's. There you go, right there.
Yes.
Starring Audrey Hepburn. And take a look at this. Let's flash back to see Audrey Hepburn.
Huckleberry friend, Moon River, and me.
Beautiful, huh? Beautiful. Raise your hands if you saw the movie. Okay, almost everyone here.
It's a lovely song.
You know what happens? Before they put the movie out to the general public, they view it and they look at the whole thing. The producers put it together, and the very first thing the producer said when he saw that, he said, "You know what? The movie's too long, and Audrey Hepburn, in my opinion, can't sing very well, so I'm going to cut it from the movie."
And Audrey Hepburn said, "Over my dead body." Good for her, right? So what happened was the composer was Henry Mancini, and he knew that she had sort of a breathy quality, and she didn't have a wide vocal range. But he took it as a challenge. He said, "I have a challenge. I'm going to write a great song for her," and he definitely did that. So.
Wow. So, talk to us about the actual writing. Can anyone here read music? Anyone here take music?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so
just taking a look at this sheet music right here, you can see there's not a lot of notes. It's, I think, an octave plus one note. So, but it was a simple song musically that he wrote for her.
yeah. So one of the things that Henry Mancini was worried about was that she didn't have a big vocal range. Like Julie Andrews could sing like 3 octaves. But her range was just 1 octave, so Henry Mancini, to back up what you said, he just said, I consider this a big challenge. I want to see if I can write a song for her, even though she only has a few note range, and that thing became a huge hit when Andy Williams sung it. So let's take a look at a little clip of Andy Williams singing the song.
Moon River, wide and I'm crossing you in the sky someday.
Beautiful, huh? Really, just
So
really
easy
I
and
know.
beautiful his sound, right,
Yeah.
as a singer.
There is a theater in Branson, Missouri called the Moon River Theater. Has anyone gone there? Ah, okay. Did you see Andy Williams there? Oh, fabulous. Wow. I went there. He wasn't appearing that night, so I was so disappointed. This is back in the 80s, so nice going. Congratulations on that. All right, so let's move on.
Another Name the Singer.
Here we go.
All about the home.
Name the singer.
The tree before my spirit falls again.
Who is?
Any guesses? Doris Day.
Mhm.
Well, that's close.
That's
You
very close, because I always get Doris Day mixed up with the other person that close. So we got Doris Day.
Any other guesses?
Any other guesses? Hmm? Ah, that's a
Patty
good guess, too.
Page. That's yes, good
All right,
guess.
all right. Anyone else want to take a stab at it? Here we go.
Dinah Shore.
Remember Dinah? I always get it mixed up. Doris Day, Dinah Shore. So Patty, tell us about the story behind this song, "We Need a Little Christmas." Raise your hand. You have heard of the song, yes? Okay. So tell us about this song.
Yes. Okay, so it was written for the musical Mame by Jerry Herman. And in the story, Auntie Mame loses her entire fortune during the 1929 stock market crash. So she felt we need a little Christmas to boost up morale in the household. Now, what you did not hear there, but you do hear in the musical, is that her nephew Patrick says, Auntie Mame, it's only 1 week after Thanksgiving. Meaning, why are we celebrating Christmas so very early?
So when that song came out and the brains, it was like a light bulb going off for the merchandising executives and all the shopping mall owners, because they thought, look, if we start our Christmas shopping season in Thanksgiving and run it all the way up to Christmas, we can earn a lot more revenue. That is the impact that that song and that one line has on shopping culture in America. Isn't it crazy? That what that one line and one song can do. Wow. And this is what it looks like, right? This is your thing. You know what this is called? Christmas creep, right? And Patty, you have something to say?
Christmas creep for me I think it's Halloween creep, because I see Christmas items in Halloween.
Yeah, and pretty soon it's going to be Labor Day. We're going to see Christmas stuff, right? All right, so here we go. All right, you remember the dinosaur show? Raise your hand if you saw the dinosaur show. All right, there was a television commercial that she owned that sponsored her show. Does anyone know who the sponsor was? Chevrolet.
Chevrolet, yes.
Here we go, ready?
Viva USA in your Chevrolet. America's asking you to call. Drive your Chevrolet through the USA. America's the greatest flag of all. On a highway or a road on a levee. Performance is sweeter, nothing can beat it. Life is completer in a Chevy. So make a date today. Just leave the USA. See it in your Chevrolet.
I so remember USA, that gesture, right? My mom, my grandma Etty, and I would watch her show every week.
Now, speaking of, we need a little Christmas, Patty, okay? This is a question I'm going to ask Patty, but we're going to ask you also. So, what do you most remember about the Christmas decorations around your house, Patty?
First of all, that's my dad, a picture of my mom as a kid. The big deal was the electric train set. My daddy loved electric trains. That was the first thing that went under the tree every Christmas.
Wow, and tell us about this here.
Oh, construction paper ornaments. We always didn't have a lot of money, so Mom drew some of the stuff and we cut them out and we scotch taped them on the window panes in our house. You can see them up on that window pane. And that tree, that used to be my grandma Etty's tree. So that goes way back.
Beautiful. So what do you most remember about your Christmas decorations around it? What is the one thing that comes to mind? Anyone want to share with us? Something? Yes.
The big fat bulbs that grew on the tree.
Big fat bulbs on the tree, yep.
What else?
If one went out, they all went out.
Oh, I know.
That's right. That was so frustrating, wasn't it? Yeah. It was what else? Tinsel.
Tinsel.
And you know what? I remember the thing about the tinsel. What do you remember most about it? Yeah, 8 months later. Remember, 8 months later, you're vacuuming and you're still seeing little tinsel on the rug, right?
And also with the pine from the trees, that would show up months and months later, right?
Yeah. Good thing. It sort of brings you right back. All right, so now, another name, that singer. Here we go.
That time of year when the world falls in love.
Someone guessed something. What was it? Doris Day.
Okay.
Good guess.
It does sound a
Yeah,
little bit
it
like
does.
Doris Day. Now let's play it back again.
It's
Here
a
we go.
beautiful waltz.
Time of year
The Christmas waltz.
when the world falls in love. Every song.
Okay, any other guesses? Doris Day, yes.
Edie Gourmet.
Very good guess.
Edie Gourmet, yeah.
One other, take a stab at it. Okay, here we go.
Peggy Lee.
Yeah, Peggy Lee. It was the Christmas waltz. And the story behind the Christmas waltz, okay, it's another hot summer day. Believe it or not, it's a hot summer day. Two famous composers, Julie Stein and Sammy Kahn. So one day, This is how it happened. One day, Julie Stein knocked on Sammy Kahn's door and said,
Sammy, Frank wants a Christmas song.
we're not going to write a Christmas song. Irving Berlin wrote A White Christmas. That's the perfect Christmas song. We can't do better than that. That idea is ridiculous. No.
Sammy, Frank Sinatra wants a Christmas song, and if you ever want to work in this business again, we better get started. And they did, and they wrote the Christmas Waltz, and it turned out it was put on the B-side of Frank Sinatra's version of White Christmas, and it was a huge hit.
So if you want to write a huge holiday hit, you have to have a couple of good songwriters. You got to have a hot summer day, you got to have Frank Sinatra breathing down your neck, right?
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But you know, the most popular version of the Christmas Waltz was the one you just heard by Peggy Lee.
Yes. Now, Peggy Lee, she was very famous, like Andy Williams was famous for Moon River. Peggy Lee was very famous for another song. Does anyone remember what it might be?
Fever.
Wow.
Fever.
You got a gold star on your forehead. Fever. They decorated the recording studio with beautiful lights. They turned the lights down low, and they set the air conditioner to 0.
You know, and the result of that recording session is we now have one of the most popular holiday songs ever.
Anyone can think about who it might be?
Peggy Marsh.
Oh, you know what? That's great.
Peggy March.
Mm-hmm.
Good guess.
Yeah, that's a real, you're much smarter than I am. I'd probably think of that too. Peggy March is a possibility. Anyone else got an idea? Here's the song. See if you can feel it.
Rockin' around Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. This will go on where you can
Thinking.
see
Brenda Lee, who said that?
Yes.
Great, yeah,
Back
there you go.
there.
Brenda
Good,
Lee.
good
Brenda
guess.
Lee.
That's right.
Gracie, are you here? Is Gracie here? Okay, I wanted to turn it up just a little. Okay, so Brenda Lee, and so here she is. Go ahead.
She was 12 when she did that song and that big voice. Now she's 77. Look how fabulous she looks.
12 years old when she sang that song.
And you know what? She had 47 chart hits in the 60s, and it was only surpassed by the Beatles, Elvis Presley, and Ray Charles.
Wow.
So she was really top.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it just goes to show you, if you want a big holiday hit, you gotta have a famous writer, you gotta have a hot summer day, and you gotta set your air conditioner to 0, right? Absolutely. So here we go. So there's a picture of the Beatles, right? And I'll tell you about that in a moment. There's Brenda Lee, and she was very, very good friends with Elvis Presley. Now, here's a really surprising fact. In 1962, Brenda Lee was a guest star at the All-Star Club in Hamburg, Germany. And you know who opened for her? Those guys. The Beatles opened for Brenda Lee. She was much bigger than them at that time. Yes, so shocking, isn't it? Yeah, and so...
And did he say something about her voice?
Oh yeah, John Lennon said to her, "You have the most authentic female rock and roll voice of any female singer of our time." That's what John Lennon said to Brenda Lee.
Some compliment, right? For him to say that to her? Wow.
Yeah. So,
There she is. She was so tiny with a big voice in the recording studio.
right. And here we go. So,
Do you recognize who Brenda Lee is sitting with?
Jay Clark.
Yes. And remember this song. So after that Christmas song, she recorded a while later another song, and that was way more famous yet. Any thoughts, any memories of one of her other songs?
The most famous song she's
Yeah.
known for.
About what? Waltz?
Some kind of about waltz.
Okay.
Okay.
What else? Anyone have another
That
thought?
song.
As soon as you hear it, you're gonna know. Here we
Yeah.
go.
I'm sorry,
Right?
so sorry that I was such a fool.
Listen to that voice, huh?
I didn't know love could be so true.
It's a really interesting story about that recording of that song, David.
Brenda Lee, she was 12 when she sung Rockin' Around the Clock. She was 15 when she was brought into the recording studio and recorded that. Decca Records held that, first of all, the song is about unrequited love. Decca Records, they thought they were going to get in legal trouble because they had an underage girl singing that. So they held the song for 2 years before they published it until she could get 17 years old. So then they put it out and it shot to #1 in the world. I'm sorry. And because of that, then it brought back Rockin' Around the Clock. So the next Christmas, and every time Christmas rolls around, it is one of the most popular standards of all time, Rockin' Around the Clock.
Rocking around the Christmas tree.
Yeah, but that one was Bill Haley.
So it became even a bigger hit later on after the I'm Sorry song.
Yeah. So speaking of getting you into the Christmas spirit, all right,
Richmond Tacky Lights Tour. Anybody been this year?
raise your hands.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, a few of you have. We went, last weekend, I think,
yeah.
and we've gone twice before. So it's fun. We've taken lots of pictures. Here's just a few.
Mhm.
They're so beautiful.
And guess who?
Oh, guess who? Can you figure it out? It's us.
Guess who? All right, so what kind of tree did you have at home? And how did you decorate it? All right, so Patty, tell us about yours, first of all.
We have several trees in our house. That is my practice room, my dancing practice room, and that's in the living room. We also had one in the dining room as well.
This is our tree, and I think you can figure out which one of those guys is me, right? It's my older brother, William. So what kind of tree did you have, and what did you put at the top of your tree?
Angel,
Yeah.
okay.
What else did you have at the top of your tree?
A star.
A star?
We had a star at home too. It was sort of multicolored. We have an angel right now on top of our tree. Anything else?
So we have angels and stars. Did anyone have something other than that? Pretty much it, right?
Any popcorn?
I think a
Did
bunch of
anyone
your
do
hat, but
popcorn?
some of the hats you have on could be put on the top of your trees also.
And if you wouldn't mind leaving the hats as you exit because we want them.
We would love that, yes. All right. So, what popular male singer from the 1940s, late 40s, 50s, and 60s was nicknamed the King of Cool? We're gonna give you some choices.
Okay, is it Frank Sinatra, the King of Cool? Is it Bobby Darin, King of Cool, Nat King Cole? Or Dean Martin? Which one of those? It's one of those four.
Raise your hands if you think it's Frank Sinatra. All right, one. All right.
Okay.
Raise your hands if you think it's Bobby Darin, Mac the Knife. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
How about Nat King Cole? 1, 2, 3, 4,
A few more for
5.
that,
All
okay.
right. How about Dean Martin? 1, 2. We got more hands for Dean Martin. So,
Yeah.
all right. So the name of the singer, the person who sings this next song, is the one who is called the King of Cool. You're gonna know it as soon as you hear the voice.
Oh, the weather outside is
Got it, right?
but the fire is so
Yeah.
delightful.
Dean Martin.
And since we no place to go, let it snow, let it snow,
Let it snow.
Yeah. Let us know, let us know, let us know. Now, the story behind that song, Pat, I'll let you tell it.
1945 Heat Wave again. That's when Julie Stein and Sammy Kahn wrote that song. So it was a heat wave, and it was actually during the same heat wave that Mel Torme and Bob Wells wrote the Christmas song.
Wow, so if we didn't have hot summer days, we wouldn't have any holiday hits, would we? At all. So so we know that Dean Martin was nicknamed the King of Cool. The question for you is, who gave him the nickname? Who gave him the nickname? Anyone know?
Who? Frank Sinatra, is that your guess?
All right,
Okay.
good guess, really good guess. Anyone else? Patty, who gave him the nickname?
Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Elvis, that's a surprise, right?
Yeah.
Elvis said that Dean was his idol. So when he met him, he said, "Hey, Dean, I know they call me the King of Rock, but you You are the king of cool.
And it stuck.
Yeah, and it stuck, so Elvis Presley
Wow.
named him
Yeah,
that.
there he is right there with Shirley MacLaine and Dean Martin. Now, so who was Dean Martin's very famous partner? There was a duo. Who was the person that they were? Who was it? Jerry Lewis, right. There was a film in 1955 called The Caddy. Have you ever, how many, raise your hands if you've seen it or at least heard of it, The Caddy, right.
Yeah.
1955, so it's Jerry Lewis read the script. And he didn't think that there was enough for Dean Martin to do. He said, I think he's gonna be a little bored. So what he did was he paid $30,000 of his own money out of his own pocket to pay the composers to write a couple of songs for Dean Martin in the movie. One of those songs was this, That's Amore, and it became a huge hit. And guess what? Dean Martin didn't even think the song was very good. He didn't like the song, but we'll show you a little clip from it.
In Napoli, where love is king, and boy meets girl, here's what they sing. When the moon hits your eye like a big piece of pie, that's so ahead.
You remember the song, right?
When the world seems to shine like magic, that's why that's amore. Bells will ring,
There they are.
ting, and you'll sing me a bella. Round the clock. Hearts will play, tippy-tippy-tay, like a gay tarantella.
Boy, what a generous thing. He pays him $30,000 of his own pocket just to give him, and it becomes a worldwide hit. So,
Could we
speaking
write a song if somebody gave us 30,000? We could try.
Yeah. Speaking of snow, let us know. Lots of places in the Northeast, they've had a lot of snow. Buffalo had 6 feet of snow a couple of weeks ago, right? Yeah. So, our question for you is, what is the highest snowfall that you can remember? Where were you and when did it happen? Anyone want to share with us?
I was out of school for 2 weeks in 4th grade because the snow was up to my knees on the road and they didn't clear roads in those days. Outside of Baltimore in a little rural area called Joppa.
I wasn't a child. I was teaching at the University of Maryland, College Park in the mid-70s, but we were out of school for a whole week. You remember that snowfall in the mid-70s? But I remember the snow, the drifts were over our cars. Anyone else remember where you might have been? Buffalo. So you, in Buffalo, you probably, okay.
I think they call it the mistake by the lake.
Did
Yeah.
you say what did you say? Mistake by the lake.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I was at a wedding, cousin's wedding in Fort Wayne, Indiana,
Uh-huh.
and we just had a horrendous snowfall that almost covered the cars.
Wow.
And I remember my father took our family back home because he didn't want us to get stuck there. We almost Michigan.
So you drove home.
Michigan has a lot of snow too, right? Yeah.
And so, raise your hand if you went skiing. Ever went skiing? Okay. Raise your hands if you ever went sledding. All right. Raise your hands if you ever went ice skating. Anyone went skating? Okay, last question for you. Raise your hands if you've ever, when the ice is starting to get, thicker and thicker and thicker, you're so excited because you want to go out. Raise your hands if you ever fell through the ice when you were testing it. Anyone? I did it pretty much every winter. Because I was out there early. Come on, you gotta get cold, you gotta. So yeah, I fell through all the time.
Remember TV Christmas specials? There were tons of them, right? And you can see, maybe I'm in the way here, Dinah Shore, Bing Crosby, Frankie Lane, Andy Williams, so many stars had Christmas TV specials.
Here's our question for you.
What is the most popular Christmas special of all time? Think about that, the most popular one ever.
It does come from, it is from the 60s, but all the way up to present day, it is the most popular Christmas special of all time. What is it? Anyone remember?
Andy Williams.
Andy Williams, okay, that's one guess. Couple more? What?
Very short.
Okay.
34th,
Miracle 34th.
Miracle on 34th Street, okay.
Any other guess?
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown, who said that? Raise your hand. Bingo!
Okay.
Good job.
You win!
Nothing.
Cold.
You hear the choir singing? The children's choir. So the soundtrack, the score was written by Vince Guaraldi, as you can see, 1965. That song, Christmas Time is Near. Patty, tell us more about it.
You know, there's a lot of firsts for that TV special. One, you heard a children's choir, and also it was the first time that the cartoon characters were voiced by children. Prior to that, they used adults thinking, you know, kids would be too amateurish. Where were they wrong on that, right? And also, this special had no laugh tracks, because it was very common for TV and TV specials to have laugh tracks. This did not have any. It was also very common for shows to use already familiar to you that you've heard before, new and loved songs. This special had all original songs. So there's a lot of firsts with this one.
And actually when it came out, when they actually thought it was going to be a failure. Not the network exec, everyone thought it was going to be a failure. They had been rushed to, they got like 3 months and they said, we want this Christmas special. They made it, and when it finally aired, everyone said, the press we're going to get bombed, and it turned out to be a huge, huge hit. Now, yes?
Wasn't that done the first time for color TV also?
Actually, color TV was before that. Yeah. Patty, you had something about the little screen that would make things look like color.
Oh, you know what? Someone remembered this too. I thought maybe I was wrong. I remember that it was a plastic square that I guess we taped on the front of our television screen. And I think, I could be wrong, but I remember like horizontal shades of color like this. Does anyone see heads nods? Other people had that too, because you had a black and white Emerson TV, I think. We were the first one on the block to have a TV, but we stuck that thing up there. Wow, so we...
Yeah. All right, so, a lot of Christmas specials for adults. There is one Christmas special for kids that really stands out. Anyone remember it? You're gonna know the song as soon as it comes up.
For sure.
Did someone say?
I said Rudolph.
Rudolph. You know, that was very close. I think that was like second. There was a Frosty and a Rudolph. That was second. And until this Christmas kids special came up, Rudolph was the first one. So here we go. Take a listen.
Name the singer.
Alan.
All right, you chipmunks. Ready to sing your song? Okay, Simon? Okay, Theodore? Okay, Alvin? Alvin?
You remember it well, right? Absolutely, yeah. So the genius behind that song, his name was Ross Bagdasarian. And that was a novelty Christmas song, but actually was very successful. He was a legitimate songwriter because he wrote for Rosemary Clooney, wrote a lot of songs for her. But what happened was he was very interested in sort of like artificial voices and that sort of thing. So he bought a tape recorder with the last $200 of his life. And he put the tape on half tempo, the recorder on half speed, and he spoke into it because he wanted to see what it sounded like when they played it back at full tempo, and it sounded like that. So he said, that sounds like a bunch of chipmunks. And then he got the idea further when this happened.
His son. What would happen in September, Ross Bagdasarian's son would ask, hey, is it Christmas yet? And he went, wait a minute, if my son is asking me that, I bet there's a lot of other kids that are asking their parents in September, is it Christmas yet? So it was his son that inspired him. But you know, there's another fun fact about this, is that the chipmunks' name, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, they were named after Liberty executive.
Executive.
Yeah, Liberty Record, can't talk today, record executives, because it was sort of an inside joke, and Liberty is where the record was recorded. So that was kind
So I
of.
wonder if those executives got any royalties from that, because they were named. So now, before we leave this, there's another song that Ross Bagdasarian was even more famous for, and it's like, this is like in the late 50s, and you will know it very well.
And we're going to sing along a little bit.
And so
You'll
as soon as
see.
the words come up, there'll be a certain point where the words come up and you will remember everything. Here we go, ready? Oh, there he is right there. Witch Doctor. Remember this?
Get ready to sing, here we go. Ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah, ting-tang, wah-wah, bing-bang. Ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah, ting-tang, one more time. Ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah, ting-tang, wah-wah, bing-bang. Ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah, ting-tang, wah-wah, bing-bang, yeah.
1958, my God, all these years and it just comes right out, right? It's so fast. So the name, that David Seville, that was his stage name, but his real name was Ross Bagdasarian. That came out in 1958 before Alvin and the Chipmunks. And that thing, believe it or not, was #1 on the pop charts in America. The Witch Doctor. How far we've come, right? But we remember all the words, don't we? Right away, we go right back there. Oh, all right, so 1965, true story. NASA, the Gemini sent a capsule, the Gemini went into space, and it was the very first time 2 space capsules were gonna dock. It was 6 and 6A. So Wally Schirra's on the left and Tom Stafford's on the right. And they're circling the moon, and they call back to NASA, mission control, we got a problem. And Mission Control freaks out and say, we have a really serious problem. This is December 17, 1965. We have a serious problem. Hang on. We have an unidentified object coming in close to us, please. They say it's coming from polar orbit also, and we hear a sound. What is that sound? Listen, NASA.
Jingle bells to jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells.
NASA wasn't too happy. They thought it was great afterwards, but they were really, really they were